up, y'all? For whoever's watching this video, man, salute, y'all. We are back with a brand new, episode today on the channel, y'all. My channel is looked at like a TV show because of how long these videos are, y'all. But they will help you, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to help y'all, family, any way I can, because remember, y'all, with time you have the power to do anything you want or you choose. But with my time, y'all, I'm choosing to give back to the planet. I'm choosing to help the ones that are not so, focused on them, reminding you to lock in now while you're younger. Because a lot of people are struggling as they get more and more, older in life, y'all. People, they regret a lot of things they wish they could have done, when they were your age, or just say they were younger. But they don't have that opportunity anymore, family, because they let it pass them. They were so much living in the moment to where they weren't living long term, thinking, what the fuck can I do to help myself later on, And that's why people ain't winning now, y'all, because they don't know where to begin, because they choose to, think about it more than they actually do things to try to improve, y'all. For this channel, and the video that I'm gonna talk about today, family, is, the experience you learn from or will help you more in life, y'all. You don't learn without experience, y'all. That's with anything. That's with talking to people. That's with, hands-on work. That's with anything, y'all. If you don't have that experience, y'all, or you don't have, nothing to back you up or feeling like you can do it, You might ask me, what do you mean? Well, an experience is just like going to a job or, hanging around with your lady, because that's just an experience on one of the many things you can do while you are living, Being rich is an experience. Feeling good is an experience, y'all. Those are all experiences that give you a different feeling about how you look at yourself, So that's what I like to talk about in this channel, y'all. Knowing that you feel good, and if you feel down, well, you might have to reconsider how, what you are doing. Your routine might be not so the best, but that's okay though. But because you gotta eventually start, somewhere. That's why, I make sure that whenever I give y'all these videos, y'all, I talk with confidence, but I try to make it in a way to where y'all can perceive the message, y'all, because if you can't grab this, well then you're not fully enjoying the video properly, y'all, because you gotta realize by grasping the concept, information is thrown out in this world, y'all. There's information anywhere on anything, as long as you have what it takes to look it up that you're trying to, figure. But I like to remind y'all that, remember, family, in this world, y'all, we all have something, that we are doing now. Let's just say some of y'all working jobs, but y'all, thinking outside the box, and y'all trying to figure out how to become your own boss, CEO, right? You want to become management yourself, right? Well, you must be thinking that that's also an experience as well, but it's going to take you time to get there, or to that, what you are saying, because you're not there yet. But the law of attraction is going to aid you, y'all, if you believe in yourself enough to know that all I got to do is speak it into existence, or write it down and affirm it, and just keep telling yourself that I will be of what it is that I'm trying to become. Because, like I said, you're the genie. You're the mastermind behind the picture that no one else sees but you. So that's why I say, family, it's important to realize that in this world, y'all, we're all living with different experiences behind us, man. But at the end of the day, y'all, we're still each other's reflections, because we're all doing it because we all appear fleshly. Not everybody will get this message, y'all, because most people, they don't want to, listen to others like myself. Y'all, they rather go out and experience life for themselves. that's fine as well, y'all. But it's more so to know that you want to be a truly aware in the life that you are taking in. Even though we are, experiencing different things, choosing things for our understanding, it's always better to, like I say, be aware in that moment, because to be aware is to be alive. I told you that many times, family. You can't be alive in a world that you don't even know how to, fully lock in on. And that's kind of, what it is, y'all. It might make you feel like blah, but at least you know the science behind it. And in this channel, y'all, I'm a scientist, y'all. So I'm only gonna give you and break down scientific methods to, like I say, uplift, bring you, and even if it might hurt you, at least you got the science behind it. At least you know that this shit is reality, and I didn't create it. The world around you did. I'm just here reminding you on how this bitch, functions. Family. But let's just say, y'all, you are, someone that goes out. You like to have fun. You're not one of those people that like to stay home. Well, those experiences are teaching you and your soul how to become wiser, because you start learning more and more about yourself, y'all. The goal is to find you, but only you know when you'll find yourself, because you'll know so much about you, y'all, to where you start to believe in yourself. And that's what makes you want to, like I say, start something for yourself, or just become this businessman, because you know the trials and tribulations that you've been through, y'all. No one else knows, but that's why you keep going, or nothing stops you, because then again, y'all, you don't like to break. You like to stand tall and firm, And right there, y'all, that's when you will truly know what it means to, like I say, feel alive in a world where this world is teaching most people to feel stuck, be shackled, or just to live like other beings, family. But these videos, y'all, will exist forever, because as long as YouTube is here, as long as we have internet on the phones, where you can always remind yourself that, I'm at my highest right now, y'all. I'm not at my worst or at my lowest. So even if you are there, y'all, well, you will eventually gain that, kind of likeness of a mind like mine, y'all, and you will start perceiving things better and sharper, because you can't learn without, living in that regret for a while, family. I'm gonna be more, calm with the message, not so fast or in a rush, y'all, because I feel good about, being myself in this moment, This story time that I would like to give y'all is gonna be, of my own reality, y'all. But let's just say that, back then, y'all, I was struggling, because I was always thinking like, how the fuck can I, be somebody in a world like this? Knowing that it's not even about your creativity, y'all. It's about what you're willing to do and what you're willing to sacrifice or give up, right? That alone right there should, fuck you up or hurt you, because you weren't taught or expected of that when you were, growing up, because you thought everything was, like I say, roses and, gold. You thought that life was so easy to where if you just be this, well, then everything follows. But that's not necessarily true, y'all, because there's always things in this world that you must, do or have to, if you are choosing a higher power above yourself. And that's why I say it's better to just rock out alone. It's better to just, become the business instead of choosing a business, because working for other businesses that ain't of yours, it's only gonna, hinder you, because you're not truly gonna fully want to give it your all, knowing that they're helping somebody else and not you, family. So these teachings go in hand to hand with business too. So you don't have to go to college to hear some real shit, family, because money is truly powerful when you save it, y'all. Money is nothing when you choose to work hard and just spend it on pointless things, because time is something you can't get back, y'all. So why would you want to spend your hard working earnings, your blood, sweat, and tears into something that's truly not of equalness to you, y'all? Nothing's really equalness to you, y'all, but each other in this world, because you're the whole fucking thing. without you being here, y'all, your reality would cease to exist. So when you do leave, you're gonna take every single one of us with you, because that's how you perceived, like I say, life around you. So I give y'all this video, man. You know, when people say invest in yourself, y'all, they mean spend your money on things that's gonna make your money, give you an advantage upon others living, y'all. So, let's just say you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, or you're just on Instagram, right? Well, promote your videos, y'all, and push them out further, because you're investing in yourself, y'all. That money's working for you because you're gaining status. You're gaining, like I say, more and more souls to tune in to what might help them later on in the long run. If they choose to, watch you, or they choose to study you, because, like I say, y'all, I'm a scientist. I'm gonna give y'all things backed up by the scientific, testimonies that I have lived through, y'all. So that's what I say as I make this video, y'all. This channel was never gonna be for everybody, because people have, let's just say they get bored easily, or they can't, focus and watch someone if it's too long, because that word that I'm looking for is, like I say, people, it's not that they become unproductive, y'all, but they get, like I say, sidetracked, or someone else might have grabbed their attention, y'all. So they, are not so worried anymore, because they're living on what gives them a better feeling of life, But yeah, family, know your experiences and study yourself when you are around others, because not only do you look at how people treat you, you look at how life is truly operating. You're looking at how you must survive in this kind of a world. But it's not just gonna, take you, and what you are doing now to work, yo. It's gonna take a hell of, pain and struggles to remind you that I don't truly want to do this shit, because that's exactly why you're questioning yourself now. You may be watching my videos trying to get rich, or you're looking for a way out. But I'm sorry to tell you, family, I can't help you on that one, because looking for an easy way out, y'all, it's rather, becoming something without no effort, y'all. You ain't nothing, y'all, if you can't look back and look at all the things you had went through, y'all, to become a better person, or to become, a huge, investment, y'all. That's what I say. Invest while you're younger, man. If you want to do stocks and shit like that, or whatever you want to do, go for that. I'm not never going to knock you down, because you're at least trying to, come up with a plan or a solution, to the end game, which is, like I say, how you want to live your life and truly want to live it. But what I can remind y'all is that, come up with a side hustle, family. Make sure your side hustles are, amplifying. Even if, you are selling shit, you're doing e-commerce, you're taking phone calls from people, you are, let's just say, buying land from others, y'all, and you have to conversate with other beings. Well, that's nothing wrong, as long as you are making what you want to and are at peace with that, family. Remember this, though. You gotta have money to do anything in this world. So whether or not you wanna, get into real estate, you wanna come up with a way to develop a brand so where it spreads like fire, anything you are trying to do, create something, out of scratch or out of thin air, and just become, that. It's gonna take some money, family. That's why I say, everybody who laughs about having a job and shit like that, there's nothing wrong with having a job, family, because we were all forced to go to school, y'all. That just shows you had to get up regardless and go, after an education, even though you didn't want it, because it didn't benefit you in no way, y'all. It's teaching you how to, build discipline, y'all. If you truly, like I say, are a disciplined individual. these videos, y'all, I like to make them long. You might ask me, why is that? Say some of y'all that are watching me, y'all smoke, or y'all poor, or y'all just indulge in things that you like to do because it makes you feel better. But you might ask me, why are your videos so long? What's the meaning behind that? I used to drop shorter videos back then, but I realized that just being on a camera, y'all, to express yourself and knowing that people are watching you, it's a better feeling, because you give the people that are watching you more time to try to figure you out, or try to pick at your brain, so they can start looking at life maybe differently, y'all, if they didn't see it how you was. That's why y'all gotta be grateful for all these fucking outlets we have, y'all. Everybody mostly has been a creator because they started creating content. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, yo, that's the best way to make it out, because you became something of your own. You didn't have nobody help you. You relied on self, And if you give up, y'all, you only gave up on you. And no one else can hold that or carry that burden but yourself, family. So that's why I remind you, y'all, through the experiences you will indulge in, whether you're in a place you don't like now, or wherever you're at you currently do like, know that you don't want to be there forever, y'all, if it's something that you truly don't enjoy, because change is necessary, y'all. You always want to seek to become better as a person. You don't want to go down, but you want to go up more. It's just like with financial literacy, y'all. You want to make sure y'all are making more and more and more, instead of looking at less and less, y'all. But as a scientific person, y'all, who has studied the realm around him, well, the system is, like I say, a glitch. It is deemed for us to fail or to fall, or to not necessarily be able to rise, because if that was true, y'all, if the system wasn't rigged, y'all, everybody would be up now. Everybody wouldn't be so struggling. Everybody wouldn't be in this kind of chaos mode, to where they feel like, damn, it's only gonna get more harder and harder out here, y'all. That's why I say, save your money, family. Save that shit now. No amount of product, which could be t-shirt, or shoes, it's worth your blood, your sweat, and your tears, because you're busting your ass to make a paycheck. But that paycheck should be more so, reserved for you, because that's what you were there for, that paycheck. And that, it's time that you can never get back, because the hours you chose to work, y'all, or whatever you chose to be, that time will forever be of something you took and did with, because time is only going to remind you what you should or what you shouldn't be doing, family. So these topics will be right here, they will stay right here, but I'm here to remind you that it's good. Even if you are struggling now, y'all, I want you to endure that and just keep going and staying there, because the universe is putting you around things to build up, like I say, your mind expansion and the limit that you can take, man. That's good, y'all, because the more fire that's thrown at you, the more you can learn how to become one with it, so you don't act out of negativity or pity, y'all. But this was the video, family, and I just want to remind you that it's important to study your experiences, because the experiences are a part of the life, y'all. We're not alive forever, but we are alive now. And if you're in a frame to where you can watch this video, I suggest you watch it, because I'm bringing peace, and I'm uplifting y'all just by watching me, because I'm not looking at y'all like material or just like a piece of scraps, because I know how it feels to be broke. I know how it feels to have money, and I know how it feels to not rely on nobody, because it's not that it's a damn near good experience, but you feel good about yourself, because you know that you did everything the right way, just like how it was supposed to go, family. You didn't rely on others. You didn't beg nobody. I'm not gonna ever force no one to watch these videos, y'all, because only chosen or like-minded individuals, y'all, will be attracted to each other. So I'm not asking for 1 billion subscribers, y'all. What I'm asking for, the people that fuck with this channel to subscribe, like it, and share it if you want to. But this right here is to let you know that you are truly different from the rest, y'all. Just by questioning your surroundings, y'all. Because you're starting to look outside the box, man. Don't you know how hard it is for people to think like that, y'all? Because most people are looking in the box trying to figure out where they can begin. But if you're already looking outside the box and you're looking at yourself without anything, well, then that's one step closer for you on the goal that you're trying to reach, because you know that it's going to take more than what's being shown to me to get there, I haven't did YouTube for long, My channel says that it was started a long ago, but I didn't start making videos then. I started making videos a year ago because I truly thought and believe that this is my passion, y'all. So it's not only that just giving y'all this kind of content or gems to help y'all, but it's because I'm watching my own channel grow. I'm watching me, flutter up instead of, being invisible to the world. Everybody wants to be known because they want paper or they want to feel like they can help their families. But me, I feel good inspiring the people that watch these videos. Or I feel just better knowing that people, they drop good comments in the channel, because they remind me that in a world like this, it's important to be consistent. It's important to keep going. It's important to show the ones that want to be like you in a way they can do it as well. As long as they truly want to do this, as long as they truly have what it takes, as long as, even if they give up on themselves, they don't give up on their mission, So that's truly what I believe that I came back down here to do. Not to get on the camera and speak, but to get on the camera and help and remind y'all that there's always people in this world looking for a bigger and better thing. But it's not necessarily about that, y'all. It's about them taking the easy way out, because nobody likes to be endured with things. People don't want no testimony. They want all the, like I say, the gold, the glory, and just the no grind effort, y'all. Because people, like I say, are truly people are selfish by nature, y'all. Because this world has taught you how to live selfishly, That's why no one, everybody likes to argue with each other, or everybody just wants to, rock out on their own, because it's better that way, y'all. And to be honest, y'all, it is better to be alone than be around people who can't, see your mind, because you're around a bunch of fucking people who are asleep, y'all. They have no, awareness level, y'all. They don't see outside of the matrix like you. They're not like Neo going in and out this motherfucker. They're more so stuck in the game, and you will never be able to defeat the game while you're in it, because you don't know how it truly functions and operates, y'all. And that's truly what I'm trying to, remind y'all, the audience. No matter if you're a woman or a female, y'all, whatever you become, it's not for others to shame you or how you see them. It's more so about yourself, because we're all called to something. It's just, some people choose to pick it up, or they ignore that because they believe that they don't have what it takes to, achieve that, y'all. And I'm only here to remind you that with a pure soul and a cleansed one, well, you can take this bitch over without anybody else believing in you, because you will get that sense of, clarity. You will start feeling better. And it took, let's just say I started working at 16 years old, right? Well, that's when I was barely getting into the game, family, and I was starting out trying to, figure out what the fuck am I gonna do. At first, I thought I was just gonna go in there, stack up my money, double it, and just keep living off of, my savings. But what I was trying to do at first, y'all, was just go in there, be myself, and, stick to the money, y'all, because that's everybody's job and duty. They want the money, y'all. The money is because it gives you, a sense of freedom that's on this planet. But I remind you of this because that's how everybody once thought when they first were getting into the game. You know, people just think that having a job, is everything. Not really, y'all, because a job, it limits you. It makes you feel like you can never get the full amount out of something that you want because you're not the owner of it. You don't own nothing of those companies because you're just a worker. You're just an employee. You're basically looked at as a servant, y'all. And it is what it is, y'all. But science can, like I say, never be disputed with because it is truly elegant, y'all. So what is truth is, y'all, is gonna come out because that's how life is, y'all. Most people don't want you to know this. That's why they want you to work and bust your ass and break every bone in your being because they'd rather have someone work for them instead of you, coming out the gutter and standing on your own belief, y'all. That's when the world starts to malfunction, y'all, because other beings or souls of your caliber start feeling like you, y'all, so they start creating their own shit, I see people coming up with YouTube channels, y'all, and even though they're not at the top, or, they just started, shit, I'm clapping for them, and I'm sending them the best of luck on their journey, man. May the force be with you, because in a world like this, you are Darth Vader, y'all. You are the chosen one, Anakin. It's just that many people don't see it like you because they're comfortable with being there. They're comfortable with just, making a living off of temporary, funds, But the goal's not about the funds. The goal's about your time. The goal's about knowing that while you're here, what do you truly want to do, y'all? It's not about, necessarily spending more time with other people, but it's, knowing that if you want to do that, we'll do that because that's what makes you feel better, y'all. A lot of people in this world can't, they really can't take that pain alone, y'all, because people, they're not strong souls or they don't have a will of their own. So they like to latch on to other people, y'all, and that's why people don't like to be alone in this world. But I remind you, you'll become stronger when you embrace loneliness. Everybody has once lived there. And that's why, I'm someone like this now, y'all, where I'm slowly climbing up, y'all. I look at this shit like on Mortal Kombat when you had to go on that, when you were fighting everybody and, you were climbing up the tower. Well, that's how it really is, y'all, because, once you start, focusing on yourself and, stepping out like this, y'all, well, new levels equal new devils. So more people are going to try to, crash what you are doing because, like I say, change, it interrupts them. It's like turning off Wi-Fi, y'all, when someone's playing the game. So, it pisses them off because, like I say, they love that comfort that they're in. But you're not comfortable. You're choosing that discipline. You're choosing to, put that work in. They can't handle it, y'all, because they don't know where to begin. They don't even see themselves doing anything because, like I say, this world didn't teach you how to get it on your own. This world didn't teach you to embrace loneliness. They taught you how to, just become distracted, y'all. And this was the video, y'all. Study the experiences that God is leading you towards, whether you are working a job. Remember, I told y'all, when I first started working, y'all, I didn't know that it was going to be hard because my mind was just so focused on getting the money, creating bonds with other beings and getting the fuck out of there. But that's not what it's all about, y'all. It's about, controlling you, taking up your time, and more so feeling like you can't, have limitations, y'all, because you're limited in this world. So, your goal is to become unlimited. You want to be a person who could live knowing that they could wake up every fucking day without worrying about anybody, y'all. But that's not gonna happen if you don't find your niche, if you don't, become someone in this world, because you have the power to. Your worth is defined by what you do. So if you choose to go work a job, y'all, well, if you choose to be there for 50 years, y'all, that's what you choose. That's what you became, and that's you choosing your worth because you chose to stay there when you could have did something maybe to become better. No money is better than helping a soul look at life differently, y'all, because now they, in a way, want to take their life back, or they want to do things off of their own will. There's no money that can, reciprocate that energy, because people in this world, y'all, want to do what they want to do. So if they are truly feeling inspired by someone else, or they, are fucking with the gems that someone else is presenting, y'all, it feels right within their inner being, because their inner being can't lie to them. And that's why they are still here returning to these videos, y'all. Not, because I'm better, or because, someone else is, but because we're not stopping at what we are doing. I've been telling y'all to preach, become yourself, and show that to the world, y'all, because the world needs people like you to change, y'all. And money doesn't change the world. What does is how you and your energy is carried upon this globe. And until you get that, y'all, you won't really get what I'm saying. But it's okay. That's why I'm here to drop more videos every day, y'all. It's the 4th quarter. I want y'all to go out with a bang, man. A big bang. Because despite what happens, y'all, your videos will remain here for everybody else to see it, y'all. So remember this. The goal is not to, just look at a job like a bus stop, family. Or just look at, whatever you're doing that you don't enjoy, like a temporary, situation. But it's not there if you choose to come up with something else, y'all. Think about it. You have the time now. So think about it deeply, man. Because most definitely you can achieve anything you want, y'all. If you believe in yourself, you tell yourself that. And like I say, you see it in your brain, y'all. Because that's where true power lies, y'all. But other than that, I'll see you on the next video, man. It's one.